Okay, so a very great evening to you, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us again on another exciting upgrade mastery just for you. Yes, this is the upgrade mastery just for you, and we basically get to do this every Fridays from 7 p.m. all through to 8 p.m. I'll basically get to talk about how our week has been, the challenges we faced, the difficulties we were able to overcome, and how has everything just been going for us generally, right? So that's what we get to do every Friday. And it's always an amazing time for us to get to just unwind, right? Just look at our week in perspective, the things we did, the challenges we faced, how we're able to overcome all of those challenges, and how things are going for us as we look forward to the new week. You see, the month of July is gradually coming towards an end, right? And this is the seventh month in the year 2026. So a lot of things have been happening. And this is a good time for a mid-year reset for you to look at your year in perspective, look at what you've done in the first 6 months, what you look forward to doing in the next 6 months, and the changes that you need to actually make while at it, right? So, what are some of the things that we're going to be looking at in this conversation today? And it's going to be an amazing time. But before we get into all of those gists, how was your week? What did you do this week? What were challenges you faced? How were you able to overcome them? What were the lessons that stood out for you in all of this? Because the lessons are more important because when you learn the lessons, it helps you when you face similar challenges or when people face similar challenges and they come to you. You can draw from the wealth of experience to talk with them and to help them to be able to move on in their own journey. So, how have you been? How was your week? What did you do this week? What were the things that stood out for you this week? What were challenges you faced this week, right? What are the things that you learned also this week that you could look back and say, oh, it was an amazing week for me. I had a lot of learning experiences, I had a lot of things that I discovered that I perhaps did not know so much about before. Right. So how was your week? In all honesty, what were the things that really stood out for you and the things that you felt, yes, you tick them off your list of things you wanted to do, right? How's your week going for you, basically? For me, my week has been quite interesting, quite filled with learning opportunities, right? I've been able to go over some things again and relearn some things and just going through that relearning phase is just eye-opening again to know that, oh, this is how something should be done, this is how something should not be done, and all of those things. And it's just broadening my knowledge, right? I'm getting to know so many things I probably took for granted or don't really pay attention to as I should, right? So, and that's really helping me to become a better person, right? Learning how to approach situations to get more involved with critical thinking, right? So you're not just doing things because you want to do them. You have to actually analyze them, psychoanalyze them, just really go in depth critical thinking. And with critical thinking, it comes with so much of activity, so much of work that you get to do, right? The more you think, the more you get better at critical thinking. So you don't just do things for the sake of it, just do things on the spur of the moment, but you actually think things through, right? You actually sit down, think this through, and come out with something decisive, right? So you don't just go with the flow, right? Okay, so that's how my week has been. Quite an interesting week, quite a learning curve for me with some of the things that I had to put up with and some of the things I have to be patient about, right? Sometimes one of the hardest things for people to do is to be patient because we are always in a hurry. We are always wanting to do things instantly, always want to get result instantly. But I'm beginning to learn how to exercise patience, right? How to calm down in some situations and to do better, regardless of how overwhelmed I might be feeling. Last week we had a conversation which I feel I'll touch on a bit before I get into today's gist. We're talking about when feeling overwhelmed. And during this week, I had the privilege and opportunity to speak with someone, and I drew inference from the when feeling overwhelmed session. I even recommended the session for the person to go watch again. And I said, when feeling overwhelmed, the first thing to do is to stop, right? And then it dawned on me that the things that I share here are very, very practicable, right? They are not just theories. They're not just things, oh, it's just said for saying sake. I think that you can actually practice and see results, right? So I was just going over the when feeling overwhelmed from my head to the person. I said, okay, this was similar to what I was teaching last week when I said when feeling overwhelmed. And I said the first thing you do when you feel overwhelmed is to just stop. Then the second thing to do is to clarify. And the third thing to do is to re strategize. And the fourth thing to do is to prioritize. And the fifth thing to do is to give yourself peace. And just like that, it really worked for that situation for the person. So, like, wow. So, what we are actually sharing works. I know it works, but just seeing it again in practice, it just gives a different kind of feel, right? Yeah. So, just in case you missed that session, it's quite intense. You should go watch it. It will help you because you get to some point in your journey when you feel overwhelmed. And knowing what to do when you feel overwhelmed will help you a great deal, right? Just knowing what to do, even before you start feeling overwhelmed, helps you a great deal. So when you actually feel overwhelmed, you already know what you will do because you are prepared for such a situation. You're prepared for such a time as this. Okay, so today, while we wait for you to share in the comment how your week has been, because we really like to hear from you how your week has been, because we want to know, because this is Upgrade Mastery just for you. So we want to know how it has been for you, how your week has been, what were the things you have been putting up with or dealing with, and how you overcoming all of those things, because those things are critical for us, because we really need to connect with ourselves and understand how these things play out for ourselves, right? Okay, today, an interesting conversation we're going to have today, and it's quite interesting because today we shift a little bit from what we discussed the last time about when feeling overwhelmed into something very important, right? We call it the 5 qualities you must have. You know, we live in a world where there's some things that you must have as a person. You know, I often tell people that there are things that are nice to have and there are things that are must have, right? In the day and age that we live in today, having a power bank is a must have, especially if you live in Nigeria where the power situation is very epileptic, right? So if you don't have a solar system for power, you don't have a generator for power, it's imperative that you have a power bank and a good power bank at that, right? That's a must have so that your phone doesn't die out on you. So it's a must have, right? Having an airpod is a nice to have, right? Because you can do without an airpod, but you can't do without a power bank. I get it. So you can do without an airpod or an earpiece, but you can't do without a power bank. So it lets you know the things that are nice to have and things that are must have, right? It's a nice to have an AirPod or an earpiece. It's a nice to have. But it's a must have that you have a power bank, right? Especially if you use an iPhone, you must have a power bank. It's a must have. I get in this. So, in looking at all of this, we've come up with 5 qualities that is a must have for you as a person, especially if you want to be somebody that can be referred or somebody that can be preferred. I'll say it again. If you want to be somebody that is referred, that people can refer you, and you want to be somebody that is preferred, that people will prefer you, there are 5 qualities that you must have. And that's the conversation we're going to be having today. The 5 qualities that you must have as a person to either be so that you can be preferred and so that you can be referred. These are 5 qualities you must have, right? You may have many more, but these are 5 basic qualities you must have if you want to be preferred and referred, right? These are 5 basic qualities. Now, why is this important? Why is this important for us at this time? Because We live in a world where referral is earned. Now, for somebody to refer you, it is them putting their reputation on the line for you. So you have to earn it because referral is a transfer of trust. I'm telling someone else that I trust you, that's why I'm referring you. So referral must be earned. You can't force referral. That's why you tell people, when you tell people, oh, please help me share this or help me tell people about this, they will say, okay, but they won't do it. Why? Because you have not earned that with them. Referral is earned. Trust me, it's earned. And it's earned when you have these qualities I'm about to talk to you about. That's when people can easily refer you, and that's when people will prefer you when you have these qualities. Are you getting it? So it's important that you pay attention to this and also look at areas where some of these qualities you may lack them, and then start to see how you make fix yourself, right? Okay, so I put a poll in the comments. Okay, the poll allows me to put 5 options. So I had to merge number 4 and 5 together, right? So which of the qualities do you have? I'm going to put this poll later on in the conversation so you can tick which of the qualities you actually have, right? I put it towards the end so you can tell me which one you have and which one you want to improve upon, right? So I would hide the poll for now and then I'll put it back up later. Okay, now we are talking about the 5 qualities that you must have as a person. 5 qualities that you must have. Yeah, so true. 5 qualities you must have as a person. Referral must be earned. Very true. You must earn the right for people to refer you. They won't just refer you because they like your face. They won't refer you because you have pretty privileges. No, they refer you because you have earned it from them. Because referral is a transfer of trust. People are saying, I trust you enough to tell someone else about you and putting my own reputation on the line. I see these 5 things that I'm going to talk to you about is what actually builds your reputation at the end of the day. So when you're saying, oh, you're a person who has reputation, it's these 5 things that gives you reputation. I get it. These are the 5 things that gives you reputation. So I know now you'll be wondering, what are these 5 qualities that you must have? Right? You know, the first one of the qualities that you must have is character. Character. That's the first quality you must have. Now, it sounds weird or absurd to tell someone that, okay, they need to have character as a quality. But it is what it is. Some people don't have character. People have what we call gutter behavior. And they don't know how bad that particular thing is for them because they don't have good character. You see, one of the things about character you should learn is that character helps you in handling difficult people and difficult situations. I'll say that again. Character helps you in handling difficult people and difficult situations. One thing about character is that it helps you in handling difficult people and difficult situations. Now, why do I have to start with this? You know, as I was thinking through the conversation, that's one thing that popped into my head. I'm like, wow. Let me take your mind back to something in scripture in the book of Esther. Now, King Ahasuerus was throwing a party, and then he sent for the queen, right, to come. Vashti, right, that's the name, Vashti. It's written in scripture. Find that in the book of Esther, chapter 1, right? Vashti was beautiful, right? Vashti was the beautiful queen, was a regal queen, beautiful, right? But then we saw the deficiency in Vashti, which was a lack of character. Because When the king sent for her, Vashti said she was not going to go. And because of that, the king removed her from being queen. Now, yes, you say, oh, that's an opportunity for Esther to come up and become queen, right? Good. But you see, if if Vashti had obeyed the king would not have removed her from being queen. You see, your bad character would earn you certain consequences. Your bad character, right? Your gutter behavior would earn you certain consequences. Now, what was Vashti's real challenge? Her inability to handle a difficult person or a difficult situation. And one of the things about character is your ability to handle difficult people and difficult situations. How would you notice that? Is at the heat of the moment, many times people lose themselves. How would you notice that? They throw all caution out through the window. They lose themselves. They lose home training at the heat of the moment. That's why a real test of character is what you do at difficult times. Not what you do when things are going well. No, when things are going gaga, when things are going south, what you do, that's the real test of character. Because the only thing that happened to Vashti right now is just an inability to manage a difficult situation and a difficult person in the king, in the personality of the king. The king wanted to brag with her, and she felt she didn't want that right now. And that was the only thing that made her lose the title of being queen. That's the only thing. That's the only thing Vashti did wrong. So you see, sometimes when you don't understand this, you're wondering, why is life happening to you like this? It is your lack of character. You know, you hear people say, I beg you, let me just behave anyhow. I beg, what am I going to? Really, in this day and age, where there's social media and that action of yours can be captured in a video and shared on Facebook or on X or any other platform. And you can ruin your reputation because of one gutter behavior, which is a display of wrong character. So when we are saying these are 5 qualities you must have, number 1 is character. And character is best seen in difficult times, not when times are good, in difficult times. You see, a lot of people say, oh, doesn't really matter. I can do whatever I like. After all, is the person that is alive that will be able to behave well. Really? No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. See, a true test of your character is how you behave at difficult times. At difficult times. I know they say that character is like your bad character is like a flat tire. Even if you have the best of car, you're going nowhere because it can't take you anywhere. So one of the qualities you must have is to have character. Character as a person, as a human being. And your character is uncompromisable regardless of the situation. You know, when people switch up based on when things change, that's something wrong with character. You know, they've always said that when opportunity determines your loyalty, then there's something wrong with character. And what we see today is a lot of people who are loyal just because of opportunity. That tells you that there's a defect in character. And one of the 5 qualities you must have that will make you preferred and referred is character. It's character. So why you want people to prefer you over others? Why you want people to refer you over others? You should ask yourself, do I have the character that people can see and make them prefer me and make them refer me? Do I have that character? I often told us that we must develop our character to the point that we are not the needy, but we are the needed. Because see, people who are quick to beg, they've developed that character of being the needy. So they will beg because that's in their character. But you must develop the character of being the needed, not the needy. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So the first quality you must have is the quality of character. The quality of character. What's your character like? The quality of character is the first you must have. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter where you go. First quality you must have that will make you preferred and make you referred is character. Right? Now, the second quality that you must have, remember, we're not saying you need to have, it's a must have. I told us earlier about the analogy of your power bank and your earbuds, right? Or your earpiece. It's a must have to have a power bank. It's a nice to have an earpiece, right? Another thing you must have, another quality you must have among the 5 qualities you must have is your conviction. What are the convictions that you have? It's based on these convictions that people see that you have that will make them prefer you and make them refer you because they know the convictions that you have. Still talking about Esther. Esther, when she became queen, she had conviction. After she and her maidens and Mordecai and the people had fasted and prayed for 3 days, she said she was going to see the king, knowing that you could not see the king if the king did not send for you. But Esther said, if I perish, I perish. Because she had the conviction that going to see the king was not out of character, but was something that would help her save her people. So she had the conviction that if the people were going to be saved, it would mean her going to see the king. And if it would make her lose her life in the process, she was willing to do that. She had conviction. What will make people prefer you, what will make people refer you, is that they can see your convictions. What are the convictions you have about life? What are your belief system? What are your values? What are the things that you would not compromise on? What are the things that would not change regardless of circumstance? Those are your convictions. There are people now that change their situations a bit, their convictions may change. And worsen their situation a bit, their convictions may also change. You really did not have convictions. I've always said this, that if people can talk you out of some things or they can convince you out of some things, you never had it as a conviction in the first place. And one quality you must have for people to prefer you and for people to refer you is that you are a person of conviction. You have strong belief system. You have strong roots in what you do, in who you are. You have convictions. It doesn't matter what people say or what people do. Your convictions are not moved. They are rock solid. That's a quality you must have, conviction. And you see, in the world that we live in today, not many people have convictions. Many people are going with the flow. They're joining the bandwagon. They're doing what other people are doing. No conviction, right? People don't want to miss out. That FOMO, the fear of missing out. So because of that, they join the bandwagon. They go with the flow. They do what every other person is doing. No conviction. You know, I've often said that having conviction is you doing the right thing, even if everyone else is doing the wrong thing, right? Having conviction is knowing that you are not wrong if everyone else is doing the wrong thing and it's claimed that is the right thing. You're not wrong for not joining them. And I simply put it this way that everybody is doing the wrong thing does not make it right. And you alone doing the right thing does not make you wrong. It just shows that you're a person of conviction. And you will not trade your conviction for convenience. Now, a lot of people are trading their conviction for convenience. Right? A lot of people are trading their conviction for convenience. They know that this is wrong, but because it's the majority who's agreeing that this is right, they are now doing it. So they are trading their conviction for convenience. You know, Joseph is a person that we can use for this example of these five qualities he must have. He had character, he had conviction. For character, he was not in his father's house. He was a slave in Egypt. But Joseph still showed character. Right? In Egypt, when Potiphar's wife was trying to woo him, Joseph showed conviction. He said, how can I do this great sin and wickedness before God? Now, he could have become Potiphar's wife's sugar boy. She would have become a sugar mommy to him. But he had the conviction that how can I do this great sin and wickedness before God? That's conviction. And you see, sometimes just the same way having character would help you and lacking character would bring you consequences, the same way your convictions can also land you in trouble. Hey, come off it. Don't think that because you have convictions, everything will go smoothly for you. In fact, many times your convictions will land you in trouble. The three evil boys, it was their convictions that landed them in the fiery furnace when they said they will not bow in Daniel chapter 3. But that's proof that you have conviction. In fact, if your convictions are not getting you into trouble, we should question that conviction. Because many times your convictions will go against the norm. It will separate you from the crowd. Your convictions, it will go against the norm. Because we live in a world where everybody just like to play along. Everybody just wants to blend in. But see, your convictions will make you stand out. The reason why they were able to isolate the three Hebrew boys from the crowd was because their conviction to not bow made them to be different from the rest of people who were bowing down. So it was easy to spot them and say, there are three guys who are not bowing down. What's happening? Because your conviction will separate you from the rest. Sometimes your conviction will even put you in trouble, but your conviction will still vindicate you. That's why that's a quality you must have, the quality of conviction. Quality to believe something regardless of what others say or what they believe. You know, your conviction is hacking to what scripture talks about holding fast to the profession of your faith without wavering. Holding fast to the profession of your faith without wavering. Your conviction. The three Hebrew boys told the king, Nebuchadnezzar, in Daniel chapter 3, he says, "O king, we are not careful to answer you in this matter. Even if the God that we serve do not deliver us, we will still not bow." That is conviction. In the face of tribulation, they still had the conviction that if this is how we die, no wahala. But we rather die than to bow. That's conviction. Are you getting this? So a quality that you must have is conviction. Do you believe so much in a thing, you rather die than to give up on that thing? That's conviction. I tell you that if people can convince you out of a thing, you never had conviction about that thing. You never had conviction about it. And a quality you must have for people to prefer you and for people to refer you is that you have conviction. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Great. So that's the second quality you must have so that you can be preferred and you can be referred. The first is character. And you see, character goes in line with conviction because with the conviction you have, it will be seen in your character. There are things you will not do because you have conviction. And it will show in your character. You see, your conviction is always reflected in your character. The three Hebrew boys did not bow because they had the conviction that they only bow to Jehovah, not a golden image. Are you getting this? So, quality you must have. Number one, character. Number two, conviction. Conviction. When people start to say about you that, can't easily convince him, no, his convictions are strong. It shows that you have that quality. When you are the type that say, just talk to him, he will change his mind. You don't have conviction at all. You don't have conviction at all. Say, just talk to him. Don't worry, he will change his mind. Just talk to him. You don't have conviction at all. So true. Right? So true. Yeah. Uncompromising character. Talking about point one. You must have uncompromisable character. Very important. It's part of the qualities you must have. Uncompromisable character. Right? And we told you before, if opportunity should determine your loyalty, then there's something wrong with your character. Something is wrong with your character if opportunity determines your loyalty. Right? And then we said that everybody doing the wrong thing does not make it right. You must have your convictions. You must have your convictions. Everybody is doing it doesn't make it right. And you alone not doing it does not make you wrong. Your convictions must be strong. Right? I told you, if people can convince you out of a thing, you never had conviction about that thing. So true. If people can convince you out of a thing, you never had conviction about that thing. You never had conviction. You think you did, but you never had conviction about that thing. If they can convince you out of it, you never had conviction about that thing. Right? So the third quality that you must have is clarity. Clarity. Now you have character. Now you have conviction. You must have clarity. Yeah, you must have clarity. Now, why is this important for you? Is because, see, in the world that we live in today, it's no longer about your choice. It's about the options. Because you see, the options is what will determine your choice. Let me say that again. In the world that we live in today, it's not about your choice, it's about your options. Because it is the options that will determine your choice. And this is why it's important that you have clarity about the options. The clarity about the options. You must be able to discern between good and good because the new form of evil today is good. Evil doesn't come as evil anymore. Evil comes as good. So you must have clarity enough to discern between good that is good and good that is evil. And that's why it's an important quality to have, the quality of clarity. You are so clear, you know the difference between salt and sugar without tasting it. That's the best way I like to explain clarity, is being able to discern between sugar and salt without tasting it. You are that clear. And that's a quality you must have. Clarity of mind, clarity of purpose, clarity of intention. You must be so clear. I know with having clarity, it helps you know the things you should say no to. Because truth of the matter is, there are many things you should say no to than you should say yes to. I'll say that again. There are many things you should say no to than you should say yes to. But because you don't have clarity, you say more yes than you should say. And one of the qualities you must have is to have clarity. You're so clear about your purpose. You're so clear about your associations. You're so clear about your relationships. You're so clear about your goals and your dreams. You must have clarity. Because when you don't have clarity, people will give you ideas that are not yours and you start to run with them because you don't have clarity. When you don't have clarity, you will always jump into what is trendy and what is viral because you don't have clarity. So you want to do what every other person is doing. You want to do what seems to be the order of the day. It's because you don't have clarity. Because when you do have clarity, you will stick with your purpose, stick with your calling, stick with your ministry, stick with what you know you have been called to do. You may not be getting the tractions and the likes, but if you have clarity, you will stick with what you have been called to do. You know, John the Baptist, at some point, he lost clarity of his purpose. The same person that Jesus has said, of all men born of women, John is the greatest, was the same John who sent a message to Jesus while he was arrested. He said, "Are you the Messiah, or should we wait for another?" How did John lose clarity? The same John who said, "Behold the Lamb of God that takes away the sins of the world." The same John who told Jesus, "The latchet of your sandal and I'm unworthy to untie." The same John who baptized Jesus and saw the heavens open and the Spirit rested on Jesus, saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." It was the same John who was now asking, "Is he the Messiah, or should we wait for another?" Where did John lose clarity? Where did John lose clarity? Are you getting this? So you must understand that clarity is one quality you must have. In the day and age that we live in, if you don't have clarity, you are going to be led astray because you are not clear. And that's one quality you must have if people would prefer you. People would prefer you. Right? Joseph had clarity about his life. Right? He had a dream. He didn't know how the dream would come to pass, but he had a dream. And he was so clear about the dream. So he kept doing what he was doing, even if what he was doing didn't look like the dream. He was serving faithfully in Potiphar's house. Didn't look like the dream. From there, he went to prison. He was serving faithfully in the prison. It didn't look like the dream. But soon he was before Pharaoh. It still didn't look like the dream. He told Pharaoh the interpretation. He told Pharaoh the implementation. And then Pharaoh said, "Is there another person that we should put in charge other than Joseph?" Now the dream is beginning to look like it. And when the famine actually started, his own brothers came to Egypt to buy food. They didn't know it was Joseph. They bowed before him. Now the dream is in full swing. But all of this, Joseph had clarity. That's why he told his brothers, "And you meant it for evil, but God turned it around for good." Joseph was clear of his purpose of going to Egypt. He said, "God sent me ahead to preserve your generation." Joseph had clarity of what he was going through in his life. So you see, another important quality that you must have is clarity. How clear are you about your goals, about your dreams, about the things that you are chasing? How clear are you? There's a Chinese proverb that says that he that chases two rabbits catches none. Do you get that? He that chases two rabbits catches none because it doesn't make sense chasing two rabbits. When you have clarity, you know the rabbit to chase. You get it? When you have clarity, you know the option to pick. Because it's not about your choice, it's about the option. But clarity helps you to discern which option becomes your choice. And that's the quality you must have. You must have the quality of clarity. Be clear about your life. Be clear about your existence. Be clear about your goals. Be clear. Have clarity that looks like night from day. So clear. So clear. Because you see, with clarity, there's no confusion. With clarity, there is no assumption. With clarity, there's no jumping into conclusion. That's why you must have the quality of clarity. Because you won't assume, because you won't jump into conclusion. Are you getting this? This is why you must have clarity. Clarity is an important quality you must have. So when people need a particular service, they're so clear of the service that you offer because you've shown time and time again the clarity you have in that field. People know you because you've been so clear about that field, about that area, about that expertise. You've been so clear. You know, that's why when people tend to be a jack of all trades, they end up being master of none because people are not clear about what they really do. Again, so somebody's an electrician, somebody's the plumber, somebody's a mechanic, somebody's a fashion designer. So people are not really clear of what it is that you really do. Yes, you can do all of these things, but at the end of the day, they don't have clarity of which one they feel you are great at because there's no clarity on your part. So pick one and stick with it. So when people think about that one thing you picked, you come to mind. Now, let me tell you this. Why did the butler remember Joseph? Because he had clarity that Joseph can interpret dreams. I get it. He had clarity that Joseph can interpret dreams. Joseph was a good manager. That's why the prison warden put the prison in his charge. But what the butler remembered Joseph for was the fact that Joseph could interpret dreams. When there was a problem in Egypt, when Pharaoh needed interpretation to his dream, Joseph was referred by the butler because Joseph had clarity with dream interpretation. Are you seeing how these things work? This is why you must have that quality of clarity. People can know you for a particular thing and refer you because you have clarity in that area. Let's make progress, guys. Told you before, options is what determines your choice. It's the option that determines your choice, not the other way around. Because see, you can't really blame people's choice when you have no idea what their options were. And getting it, you can't blame their choice when you have no idea the option they had to pick from. Because with poor options, you make poor choices. That's the truth. With great options, you make great choices because your option will always determine your choice. So, what's the fourth quality that you must have? The first quality you must have is character. The second quality you must have is conviction. The third quality you must have is clarity. Now, the fourth quality you must have is competence. Competence. Give me a minute. I need to switch my power source. Mm. Okay, so we're back. Thank you so much for your understanding, right? I needed to switch power source, right? Now, the fourth quality you must have is competence. And we could see that competence with Joseph, right? The time they brought Joseph before Pharaoh, that's not the time Joseph was learning how to interpret dreams. That's not the time Joseph was learning, okay, how do I behave before the king? No. Because you see, when they sent for Joseph, Joseph first shaved, Joseph changed his robe before he went to see the king. See these guys. A quality you must have is competence, the ability to know what to do and do what you do well. That's a quality you must have competence to be able to do what you do excellently well. Scripture says in Ecclesiastes that whatever your hands finds to do, do well. Ecclesiastes 9:10. Whatever your hands find to do well. Competence is how well you do what you do. Again, competence is how well you do what it is that you do. You are competent. And the reason why people would refer you is on the basis of your competence. You are great at what you do. You know, this for ladies where they get to, when they have a particular place they will go to make their hair. Even if the place is far, even if the place is expensive, the reason why they will keep going is because the person making their hair at that place is competent. So one of the qualities you must have is competence. Whatever it is that your hand finds to do, be competent. Be the best at it. Don't be average. Don't be mediocre. Nobody refers average or mediocre. I always say this, you are either the example as a result of your competence, or you are the bad sample as a result of your mediocrity. Are you getting this? You are either the example or you are the bad sample. And competence makes you the example. It was Joseph's competence that brought him before Pharaoh. His competence in dream and dream interpretation. That competence. So kid yourself how much you like. If you don't have competence, nobody would refer you. If you don't have competence, nobody will prefer you. When Joseph finished interpreting the dream, Joseph even said, look amongst you and appoint someone to handle these things. And Pharaoh said, is there anyone who has the spirit of the gods like Joseph? And it was a unanimous agreement that Joseph is the preferred one. Why? Because of his competence. So, whether you like it or not, you do yourself a huge disservice if you are not competent. Because what will make people prefer you and what will make people refer you is on the basis of competence. How good and how great are you at what you do? That's competence. What can people say about your level of skill, dexterity, excellence at what you do? That's competence. Because competence is not necessarily what you think you can do. Competence is what other people think that you can do. Because the butler fought and said, I remember my fault this day. There was a man in prison. When myself and the baker had our dreams, he interpreted our dreams and it came to pass like he said. That's when Pharaoh said, send for Joseph. It was somebody vouching on the competence of Joseph. You know, when people keep saying you pray that people will put the right words for you in rooms you can't enter, what will make that prayer answered is your competence. Because when people are in rooms where you are not there and they remember your level of incompetence, they will not refer you. In fact, they'll rather preserve your incompetence to be local to you than to give it the exposure. And more people now know you are incompetent. You see, sometimes people are not choosing you, not because they don't want to choose you, because they don't want to expose your incompetence to a larger crowd. So they keep you aside. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? So you must understand how these things work. You must understand how it works. The fourth quality you must have is competence. And competence is learned. In fact, all of these skills I have mentioned so far, they are all learned skills. You learn your character. You learn your convictions. You learn clarity. You learn competence. You learn competence. Because in the stages of learning, there are 4 stages. It starts with unconscious incompetence. And then it moves to conscious incompetence. And then it moves to conscious competence. And then it moves to unconscious competence. So you see how it progresses. Competence is learned. You learn the skill. And you become great at what it is that you do. Then you become competent. And because of your competence, people can now refer you. People can now prefer you because of your competence. So the reason why the butler remembered Joseph was because of Joseph's competence. Not because Joseph was an Hebrew or a Jew. No, it was because of Joseph's competence. We have a problem. And the only person I know that is competent enough to solve this problem is Joseph in the prison. So Pharaoh said, go and get him out. So competence will bring you from the backside to the front stage. Competence. Are you getting it? Competence will bring you from the backside to the front stage. Competence. It will bring you from where there is no light to the limelight. Competence. So whatever you do, ensure you become competent in it. Ensure you become competent at it. Are you getting this? Is this making sense? Right? So this is the fourth quality you must have, the quality of competence. If you want people to refer you, you want people to prefer you, you must have the quality of competence. You must know your onions. You must know what you do, like you know your name. It shows that you are competent. Right? The reason why people are preferred is not their tribe, it's not their qualification, it's their competence. It's their competence. And yet people keep referring them based on their competence. Right? So the four qualities I've shared so far. The first quality you must have, the quality of character. Second quality you must have, the quality of conviction. The third quality you must have, the quality of clarity. The fourth quality you must have is the quality of competence. And the fifth quality that you must have, competence is learned. Thank you so much for that. The fifth quality that you must have is the quality of credibility. I know, interestingly, all the previous four qualities already makes this fifth quality easy. Because of your character, because of your conviction, because of your clarity, because of your competence, it's easy for you to have credibility. And when you have credibility, it's easy for people to prefer you and people to refer you because you have credibility. You know, sometimes people don't know that credibility is a social capital that you need. Credibility. And over time, one of the things that you would lose when you do things wrong is that you will lose credibility. And credibility is a social capital. And people bank on you. What they are banking on actually is your credibility. That you can keep your words, that you can honor agreements, that you can say yes and it is yes. And the truth of the matter is this: your character, your conviction, your clarity, and your competence is what gives you credibility. So there's no credibility if you lack character. There's no credibility if you lack conviction. There's no credibility if you lack clarity. There's no credibility if you lack competence. So all of these other four is what gives birth to credibility. Now you see why I said that these are 5 qualities that you must have. Now I'm not saying either or, you need to have all of them. So you cannot say, so you don't have to say, oh, I don't have character, but it's okay, I have conviction. Or I don't have conviction, but I have competence. I don't have competence, but I have credibility. See, you need to have all 5. And all 5 is a must-have. You need to have all 5. No, I asked in the poll, which do you have? But the truth is, you need to have all of them. You need to have all of them. You need to have character. You need to have conviction. You need to have clarity. You need to have competence. You need to have credibility. You need to have all 5. You need to have all 5. Because if you lack these 5, guess what? Nobody would refer you. Because referral is a transfer of trust. Nobody will trust you when you lack character. Nobody will trust you when you lack conviction. Nobody will trust you when you lack clarity. Nobody will trust you when you lack competence. Nobody will trust you when you lack credibility. And if people don't trust you, they cannot refer you and they cannot prefer you. Are you getting this? They cannot refer you and they cannot prefer you. So instead of you praying that, oh, people should refer me or people should prefer me, work on these 5 qualities. Work on your character, work on your conviction, work on your clarity, work on your competence, work on your credibility. If you work on these 5 qualities, you become the preferred and you become the referred. It's as simple as that. It's not rocket science. People will prefer you, people will refer you when you have these 5 qualities. So last week, I shared with us 5 things to do when you are feeling overwhelmed, right? And I told us number 1, stop. Number 2, clarify. Number 3, re-strategize. Number 4, prioritize. And number 5, give yourself peace. And this week, I've told us 5 qualities that you must have, right? 5 qualities you must have. And I've told us you must have the quality of character, quality of conviction, the quality of clarity, the quality of competence, and the quality of credibility. These are 5 qualities that you must have as a person. And when you have these 5 qualities, guess what? You become the preferred one and you become the referred one. With these 5 qualities, people will prefer you over others. With these 5 qualities, people will refer you to others. So don't pray for referrals. Have 5 qualities. Don't pray to be preferred. Have 5 qualities. Joseph did not pray to the butler to refer him. He had the qualities that the butler needed for referral to happen effortlessly. Are you getting this? To be the preferred one and the referred one, have these 5 qualities. And it doesn't matter where you are in this world, you will be sought out and you'll be sought after. Are you getting this? You'll be sought out and you'll be sought after when you have these 5 qualities. So it's in your best interest to have these 5 qualities. You're not doing it for another person, you're doing it for yourself. You're having character for yourself. You're having conviction for yourself. You're having clarity for yourself. You're having competence for yourself. You're having credibility for yourself. You're not doing it for another person, you're doing it for yourself. But when you do it for yourself, guess what? You'll be the preferred by others and you'll be the referred by others. So if you want to live a life where you are preferred, you want to live a life where you are referred, then you must have these 5 qualities. This is the game changer for you. It's as simple as that. This is the game changer for you. Having these 5 qualities changes the game for you completely. Completely. It changes the game. The question now is, what are you going to do with these 5 qualities? Like I told you, all 5 is learnable. All 5 is learned. No one is follow come. You learn all 5. You learn your character, you learn your conviction, you learn your clarity, you learn your competence, you learn your credibility. All 5 is learned. The question now would be, are you willing to learn these 5 qualities so you can possess these 5 qualities so that you can become the preferred and the referred? Is now up to you. The ball is in your court. What are you going to do with it? Right? So, guys, this is it. This is our gist for today. This is the conversation that we felt to bring to you at this time, right? Whatever you do, ensure you become competent at it. Yes, that's it. So we'll take one or two questions and then we'll call it a wrap for today. Thank you so much for your joining us. Thank you for sharing this, right? Do well to share this, right? This is one way to help other people to learn the same way you're learning. Trust me, it will do them a world of good, right? And they would be glad to get it from you, right? Because this will be one way of you showing to them that you are referring what is right for them and you prefer the right thing to them. All right. So share with your friends, your families, your loved ones, and even your enemies. Share with them because sharing is caring, and also because you know that they need to have these five qualities. Because these five qualities, literally, the game changer. Literally, right? In all honesty, these five qualities, they'll change the game for you. They will. Character, conviction, clarity, competence, credibility, it will change the game for you in any field you are playing. It will change the game for you. And with this, you become the preferred. With this, you become the referred. That's it. That's it. As simple as that. I hope you've learned something from this conversation. And if you do have questions, please feel free to leave the questions in the comment. We'll be glad to take them. If you're not asking the question on the live, it's fine. If you want to ask the question in the comments, leave them in the comments. We would be glad to take them. We also like to remind you to do well to share, right? Turn on post notifications so you don't miss out anytime we go live. Like, subscribe, share. That's the least you can do, right? That's the least you can do. And we appreciate you for doing that. And until we come your way again next time, Fridays, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., always remember that there's always more on the upgrade side of life. And that's why we encourage you that you leave good behind so that you can upgrade. And what better way for you to upgrade than to have these five qualities? With this, you become the preferred, and with this, you become the referred. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.